Yeah. Hi and welcome to Janne Silden Unlocked. I'm Janne Silden and today I'm speaking with Despina Karanta, a naval architect and the director of ENPLO in the UK. It's great to have you here, Despina.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you for inviting me.
Despina, for listeners who may not know the company yet, what does ENPLO do?
So, as you said, my name is Despina and I work under my own firm. I'm a naval architect. The name is pronounced ENPLO. It's actually a very Greek word, which I like. We mainly focus on naval architecture in terms of structural design, stability calculations, and then offshore installations, um, um, transportation and installation in offshore fields.
Okay. And you grew up in Greece, even though you're working from UK, one of the world's major maritime nations. What originally drew you towards the maritime?
Well, as you say, I am Greek, and in Greece, shipping is a very big part of our culture and the economy. So it kind of was around me, even if it was directly, as I do not have anyone in my family, connected to any maritime company. However, I knew from a young age, being I was quite good with numbers and a little bit good with problem solving as a young girl. So my parents, even half joking, they were saying, "Oh, you need to be an engineer."
Mm.
Um, so, I always had this in mind. No, I want to be an engineer. And growing older, I was looking to be a civil engineer, an architect, maybe an electrical engineer. However, around when I was, I think, 16, 17, a friend of mine invited me to go sailing with them.
Mm.
And I absolutely loved it. And I think that was my first curiosity about, oh my God, how is this thing made? How can this vehicle move in the sea? And this is where I started looking about options about how to design a boat and become a naval architect.
That's interesting. Did that your parents were supporting or saying you become an engineer, was that crucial? I'm just thinking about others who might not dare to take that step. What do you think is the support from home very important?
Oh, totally. I think even my parents, they were just joking. They weren't thinking that I will take it this seriously. Yeah, it is definitely the support from home and probably from a young age, even from very young, from the toys we play. I think it matters a lot about the decisions we will make in our career later on and how confident we are in ourselves.
Yeah. Did you have any role models special?
Um, in not entirely in the engineering field, we don't really have engineers in my family. Just I always had a mom who was a massive problem solver.
Mm.
She could handle complex family problems real well. So I guess I got the problem solving from her. And my father was always into the building industry, a builder. So he had a technical interest, and I would see things from him. But engineering wise, I don't think at the early age I had a direct influence.
No, no. Do you have any role model today? Like, is there a more, as you build your network within the maritime, have you kind of, I guess you have got also inspirations from others along your path?
Yes, totally. Many role models over the years, depending on different, different levels of work.
Yes.
I remember when I did my first internship in a shipping company in Greece. There was a young woman. She was an engineer, and she was the only one in the technical department. And I was so impressed by her. And I remember she really made me want to be like so precise and accurate and spot on my work, like she was. I think that was my first role model. And then later on, obviously, I met other very good engineers, men and women. In different roles, I've met engineers, managing directors. I've met engineers who followed a different law, like a more like a commercial law path. And I did have several role models in my career that I wanted to be like them.
Yeah, it's important. I just think about myself. I find it quite important to have something or someone to not necessarily look up to, but to kind of observe how have they created their path, their life path, and it's at the end. I often find more maybe look towards men because it's been more men where I've been working, and I've seen someone and thought, oh, that's how I would like to move towards when I got older, because it looks like still like freedom and not having problems or topics that others might have or stuff. So I always been watching maybe more men and then towards freedom because it's been important to me.
Well, you're right on that. Also, we are more there are more men to watch in our industry, and it's definitely important to have a role model. But I think there was always something about me looking on, observing women engineers, because there are just a few of them,
Yes.
and there are not many. So I was always impressed by their ability just to navigate this, because me starting in this industry, obviously I had to develop different skills. I had to develop confidence. I had to develop my communication skills, and I was always impressed not by their technical knowledge, but by the way they communicate their
Okay.
thoughts. So I think that is so important as well. Yes.
Yeah. Looking at your, how to say it, your career path from work from university from the university to leadership, are there any special moments that shaped your career especially?
Um, you mean moments in terms of specific events, or
Yeah, yeah.
I think so. I will not talk about something specifically, but there were moments where you you totally understand the responsibility an engineer has to carry, and you have to take your work really seriously, because whatever you decide, especially when you are in a more senior role, whatever you decide, it will directly affect performance and safety. So there were a couple of moments like that. Well, as you can go from a junior to a senior role really quickly if you prove some competence, but you really don't have this experience of seeing failures and seeing offshore structures just having some damage or people get injured. So a couple of moments like that, not specifically from a mistake that I've made, but from general industry events, it just make you understand how seriously you need to take your job, and it's better not to speak if you are not 100% sure, because the numbers speak louder than what you do, what you say.
How does a normal work day look like for you?
Well, loads of meetings, especially when you're in the middle of a project. You wake up, you need to, depending on which team you're working, you need to organize the team, delegate jobs. Sometimes I work under another someone else's project management, or sometimes it's me who is organizing the team. So lots of meetings just to organize, see where we are, see what problems we have to face today, prioritize the problem, because engineering is a massive compromise. Like you cannot have everything to perfection. You need to compromise something so that you can get better results in what's more important. For example, sometimes you decide that I'm going to compromise speed so I can get safety, I can get stronger structure. So yes, lots of meetings, and then really trying to focus on the actual work of the day, depending on the deadline. Sometimes it's an analysis, sometimes a calculation, but in the meantime, imagine also lots of phone calls, just your phone ringing all the time with other projects, different clients, and sometimes things are urgent. You can't really tell them, oh, I'll deal with this next week. Sometimes you have to just drop whatever you're doing and deal with it right now, and then go back to where you were.
Yeah.
It's a
So,
little bit
so
of chaos.
yeah. So I guess flexibility and is important. And you also mentioned earlier your mom with problem solving, and I guess like we all know, families there is a lot of actions going on, or stakeholder or opinions and emotions and things. So and in my experience, it's not a big difference to active working in if you are dealing with people. It's a lot the same thing, isn't it?
No, I totally agree. And there is actually a saying that I've heard recently that was saying, if you ever want something done, give it to a very busy woman. If you want something done very quickly, give it to a very busy woman. I know this is. Sorry, go on.
No, no, I'm just thinking. I had actually a boss once. He said that he actually prefer women in certain positions because he can trust that the job is done. I won't say who it was, but I found it really interesting. Anyhow, so what do you love about your job?
What I love about my job? Well, of course, the aspect of seeing something going from design into reality. This is, of course, something that I love, the creativity of it and how you see projects coming into real life. But beyond that, what I really love my job is that where this journey has taken me on. So I had the opportunity to work in different environments, to work with exceptional professionals. I visit shipyards all over the world, offshore sites. The collaboration it made me, it gave me. This is something I really love, and
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I guess I should say is that I love how over the years I have built trust with my clients, and how they would come back, and because they trust you, they trust what we have achieved so far. They've seen the previous results, because in engineering, trust is not a given.
No,
I guess
no.
everywhere, but it's something that you earn over the years. So it's something also that I really love, seeing all clients just coming back for another inquiry.
In my experience, when you have got that basis of credibility and you understood how the maritime sector works, then you have so many opportunities. Would you agree on that one?
Yes, I agree. Even you can transition your careers from different departments, in different industries within the maritime industry. Yes, you can totally. Sometimes even being able to communicate correctly with the fleet on board, with captains, with seafarers, that is also a skill, and that might give you a good position in the technical department, because you might be the best naval architect in the world, but if your communication skills are not, if you cannot communicate with a fleet, then that's just, you're not suitable for the position. So yeah, definitely, once you get to understand how the industry works, you can have so many opportunities in there. I've seen people going from naval architects to the best commercial managers in the world, just because they understand how the industry works.
Yeah. Yeah. Despina, when I approached you about this podcast and the academy that I just founded, you reacted immediately positively. What made you say yes?
Well, I do love the initiative. I do think we do need more women in the marine sector, but specifically in the technical marine sector. I think it is important to have more women there, because this is where all the core decisions are made. I do believe that everything starts from the junior engineer that will work with a senior engineer. They'll make a decision, and sometimes we do need this group of men and women, of not just men and women, different cultures as well, if you want, because the diversity and the different way of thinking can always brainstorm better ideas and better ways forward, safer or better performance, depends what's the goal. So
Yeah.
yes, I do think extra women in the technical world is it's quite essential.
Yeah. So, are there any unspoken rules in the maritime sector? I think there are. We touched a thing about a bit that you only come to understand over time.
Yes, definitely. I guess in every industry there are spoken rules. So first thing I would say, coming out of the university feeling all excited and confident in what you can do, then you come to understand that what it really matters is experience. You see in shipyards and in offshore sites, people who have built structures for 20 and 30 years, they carry an enormous authority. Um, the other thing, the other thing I would say is that there is a very conservative industry. Um, Change happens. You do need patience, as we said before, and consistency to introduce new ideas. But it is a very conservative industry. At least this is what I have experienced so far. And if I can say another thing that I was thinking before is that the industry is much smaller than it seems,
Yeah.
and the reputation, your reputation travels very quickly. So the way you handle pressure, the way you solve problems, how you communicate in difficult moments, people will remember that, and people that may not know you may have heard of it. So yes, the industry is much smaller than we really think it is.
Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's international, so you know that the world, even though it's so big, it's a small one. Yeah, you always
Oh,
meet
yeah.
twice
People
somehow.
travel, yes, people
Yeah,
travel, they change roles and you just meet them again.
yeah. My last question is: have you experienced your gender playing a role in your day-to-day work?
Um, to some extent, we do know, as you said as well, that the maritime engineering is a largely male-dominated field. There are moments when you are the only woman in the room, so you do realize that you might be tested a little bit more carefully. So people might watch you, what you're doing, and check what you've done, especially if they don't have previous experience with you, a little bit more closely. Or at least this is my experience. I might be completely wrong here, but I'm talking from a very personal perspective. But I do also see that over the time, when you are solid in what you do, this barrier just disappears. I guess it's just the first, maybe the first period that might be like this.
Yeah,
But
it's what you're saying is that the visibility is very high for women currently in the business because there's so few, you could say. It's not 50-50 yet. So the visibility is it can be a challenge sometimes.
visibility, you mean as in be seen or
Being the
that you.
only woman in the room, to put it that way.
Um, there is visibility. You also sometimes, just because of that, you need to be the best engineer so that you can get a role. Again, I think in countries like UK, Germany, I believe, and northern countries, this is less and less. But I'm sure that in many companies, a woman to even be considered for the role, she needs to be the best engineer. Which there's nothing wrong with being the best engineer, but you can also be a very good engineer, and still, be very suitable for a role.
Thanks a lot for your insights and being here with me.
Thank you so much for considering me, Jane. I really appreciate that.